This is an open letter to the Sane Society, following the new theme, which is, to pick out the very good acts that some of Uncle Sam's managers do, and hopefully Wells Fargo will not close my bank account in doing so. Here's the thing. Bravo, Mr. Thomas Massie. This gentleman is what any representative in Uncle Sam's land should be. And equivalent to him, you can say, AOC in the Democratic Party. People who have done literal manual work. They have a lot of time to think. And that's what makes them, those who have the ability to think, when they do a manual work, it gives them a lot of time to think. And that's why, I think anybody who wants to have a, more clear thought should, do manual work. And I don't accept, I don't think it's a good idea. Gyms, I don't think they're good ideas at all. Yeah, I understand if you're living in a crowded city and there is not much room to go and do things around to exercise, so you go to a gym. Well, maybe then you shouldn't be living in large cities. Large cities are a dead end because, demographically, population growth-wise, large cities are dead ends. So, the more of something you see, human beings around you, the lower their value goes. The less you see, the more you value human beings, and just like everything else. And cities are these, places where human beings are crammed together. In such environments, as like anything else, human beings lose their values because there's so many of them. But when you spread them around in the countryside, and they don't have to do manual work, but then doing manual work makes sense, and going to the gym doesn't. If you're have a 40 acres and a digger, an excavator, or have 40 acres and a tractor, or have 40 acres and a loader, you do whatever you do is going to involve a lot of physical activity, which is the correct form of physical activity. It gives you time to think. It gives you the serenity, the time to think. Because whatever manual work you do, you find out that it takes forever to do anything, as opposed to when you do something by something automated, or you push a button and voila. Once you start doing manual work, you find out that no, it takes forever. And that forever taking of cutting a tree, or axing a tree, or cutting a tree, and branches, and clearing land, that gives you a lot of time to think. And because it takes forever to do, it's very slow, what I'm trying to say. And that is what you see in people who started, or at some point in their career, in their life, at some point early in their life, or at least in midlife, they have put a lot of manual labor into something. A few years, many years. So Jesus was a carpenter, supposedly. My point is this: Of course, not every carpenter becomes Jesus, but you're more likely than not to find Jesus amongst carpenters, that one carpenter that can really think. They all think, all carpenters think while they're working, but a few of them who have a better connection in their brains, better nervous connection in their brains, can think much higher thoughts than those who don't. So my point is this. But the manual labor is there. So the point is this: you're more likely to find Jesus amongst the carpenters than you are to find Jesus amongst the bankers, or the corporation owners, or CEOs, or politicians. You find Jesus amongst the carpenters, because those other guys don't do manual labor. I think this manual labor is important to bring out the intelligent creature, if there exists an intelligent creature within. If there is potential for an intelligent creature in humanity, in human populations, those intelligent creatures come about while doing manual labor. They show themselves. They are created while doing manual labor for, quite a few years, for many years. So my point is this: so the gyms, on the other hand, is absolute nonsense. Gyms, places where, cramped people in the cities go to exercise to hopefully have their brain move a little and think. But then gyms are totally wrong for this gyms, and indoor space is totally wrong with regards to thinking, because especially in a gym, it's just all around mirrors. So instead of losing yourself in the nature, as manual labor outside involves, which is losing yourself in nature, in a gym your images keeps getting reflected to you more and more. They got all mirrors all around, and they have pals and buddies and people they know all around. So the mirrors are judging, the pals and buddies are judging. Every fucking thing in that gym is judging you. At least judging your shape. That's without even going into the intellectual part. Just going to a gym is like going to army. It's like you go in and there's certain expectation with regards to physique. There's certain expectation with regards to your other, if they get to know you, there's certain other expectation with regards to your political views and social views and this views and that views and the other views. So again, it's not conducive, I think is the right word, I don't know, not conducive in creating a thinking individual, a thinking individual, and bringing every human being's potential to the surface. So, but when you do work, and especially when you do manual work outside, the best form of manual work is manual work outside, in the open. If you can't do that, at least gym is poison. Human beings are competitive. The mammal, the monkey is competitive as it is. You don't need to be reminded and encouraged and sharpen your competitive spirit every day more and more, as it is, as you do in the gym. You don't need that extra help of being reminded of your competitiveness. Bad idea. You want to find yourself, you want to find your true voice, you want to be able to think, with less greed. Let's put it this way. You want to think with less greed, you have to go to country to think and to greed is something that cities create because of the fear that cities create of so many human beings around, and not every one of them friendly, and so people become a little more greedy because uh, they just are uncomfortable. Human beings are naturally, being a monkey tribe, usually monkey tribes members don't reach over 50, over 100, not no more than that. That's the number of people that human beings are comfortable with to be around, about 100 people. That's natural, that's normal. You take that away from people in the cities, and so many people, the fear level rises and people become greedy, just greedy, because their fear level is very high in the scale, because that's what city creates, fear, because it's unnatural to be around so many other human beings. Many of them you have are not comfortable with or don't agree with about anything. Fear, greed. So I moved away from. So the thing that Thomas Massie and AOC, and the commonality is that they all have done, for a large period of their life, good portion of their life, they have done manual work. And famously, AOC had worn out shoes because she had actually done her own meet and greet with half of her constituency. So you can consider that, and at the same time, or before it or after it, doing bartending and this, and you can say that that qualify as the same thing. Bernie Sanders running around the country with his hair on fire and trying to make things better. That kind of activity, again, that counts as manual work. You see Bernie Sanders still fit at, I don't know, over 80 years old because of all the manual physical activity in the forms of protest and go here and go there and go there and go there, try to do something. So that's that's the same thing as AOC. And Thomas Massie comes from the other side of the aisle because a lot of things that he has done manually was for himself, within that, for his own 40 acres and a mule. But the point is this, that they all have done this physical activity, this long period of physical activity, blah blah blah, that helps them think. And most of the time I have a feeling Thomas Massie and Bernie Sanders and AOC agree on almost 90% of the stuff. And why? Because these are the thinkers, because these guys have actually done the manual work, and during that time they had the right number of connections in their brain to think, and the result of that thought has come out something good. That is, they're more moderate, more centered, less greedy, more let's I'm not going to listen to lobbyists. I'm going to do what would be better for my people. And you see, these are the only ones who usually push away the lobbyists, whether it be international lobbyists like this fucking British and Israeli folks. These are international lobbyists. These are, you can say, national lobbyists. These are other nations who are lobbying to get a specific person elected in Uncle Sam's land. I'm sorry, would you accept if Chad, Angola, Algeria, even Puerto Rico, would you accept some Puerto Rican rich folks getting together and putting their money behind a specific senator or a specific representative in a race in some third district of the fourth district of the this or that, you wouldn't accept that. Why is it acceptable for the British and the Israelis to have any say? Are you kidding me? These are international lobbyists lobbying on behalf of nation states. If that's okay, please give that right to every nation. I'm sure Tajikistan wants to have some lobbyists in Washington. Turkmenistan also wants those lobbyists. All the stans want their own lobbyists. Why can't they have it? But what, they have to be Anglo-Saxon to have lobbyists, or at least Ashkenazi? They have to be of European origin to have a lobbyist. If they are not of European origin, no, that would be interference in our domestic matters. So Israel is part of your domestic matters? You do know Israel is not even in the Western Hemisphere. Oh, I'm sorry. How about England? Those fucking people are, part of your is England the 51st state? And why does it have its own king then? So what are these people doing in Uncle Sam's land? I have a feeling Mr. Massie feels the same, that he was mad about the lobbyists from Israel. Now he has to deal with lobbyists from England, the main problem in the world. I think, bravo Mr. Massie for, recognizing this, standing up, doing this. And if you want more senators and more, representatives who are, true and can think and, you have to find people who have done good amount of physical activity during their life, not, Trump fighting. That was a show, we all recognize it. That was a photo op, great photo op, but very memorable photo op. But if Trump had done that work for 10 years in his youth, Trump would have been a very different person. Obviously he has the neural connections in his brains. Somewhat. He's not a genius, but he has some neural connection in his brains. But that manual work, which has given him the time to think and connect dots, that is missing in Trump's early life. I think one of the reasons the Chinese have such in my view, at least intelligent leadership. They're intelligent. You can't tell me there is a George W. Bush in the, I don't know, there's 7-member, 9-member, the group that leads China. You can't tell me one of them is George W. Bush or equivalent to George W. Bush. No. Because that system values exactly this, that some labor involved during young adulthood. And all of them have gone through it. And I hope, they send their children through it as well. It's needed. At least 5-10 years of, good amount of open air labor, not forcefully, but, peacefully. Here's a 40 acres and a tractor. You're 18 years old now. Here's 40 acres and a tractor. You can go be an industrialist. You can go, produce plastic, you can go farm, you can whatever you want to do, you have 40 acres to do it. And these young men should go and, will go, I can assure you, what 18 to 35-year-old wouldn't jump at the chance of going to the country and, starting something for himself. Even if he has to take a few years of hardship. But then, instead of, but he knows that later on in life, if he wants to, raise in a society, become a representative of something or other, he has these years to thank, because it has given him time to reflect. I think any one of these representatives who are good, thoughtful, are the ones who have done manual labor in some time, for a longish period in their life. I understand even Mr. Musk has done some manual labor in Canada as soon as he entered this country. And if we get rid of this idea of gyms and encourage young people to go and try their hand at establishing themselves, like with a surrounding like Mr. Thomas Massie has produced for himself, but that chance should not be given if first go and make some money and then go the 40 acres and a mule, buy it for yourself. That can't be done. That can be done with small number of people who have the skill set and the determination to go get it, do it. But I think the 40 acres and a mule should be the birthright of every 18-year-old. And it's sort of like your male, and it has to be given only to males. And if any females like this male, knows that it's 40 acres and a tractor is attached to the male, so if you want to mate with this male, but it's on the understanding that the 40 acres and the heavy equipment stays with the male. If after a few years the female wants to quit and get a divorce, she can go back to the city. She has to find somebody else if she likes, because she gets no percentage of the land or the property. You have to have a head of household. You just have to have it. This breaking up and making up is just a crazy nonsense. My point is this, that you have to give the chance of 18 to 35-year-old males to go and do a bit of thinking. No, the army doesn't do that. The army makes you more conforming. You're even more crammed. Imagine this, if you think the city is crammed with people and doesn't allow people to have a moment of clear thought, and they don't have a space to do real outdoor physical, a productive physical labor. That's also important. You need to feel that your physical labor is productive. Another problem with the gym, with all that reflective mirrors and judgments and the testosterone and the sweat and shit that goes around in the gym, on top of all that, it's unproductive work. It's more kills the soul even more when you don't think unconsciously people recognize that this is unproductive muscle building. This is unproductive work. I'm taking this weight, doing 50 of this, and it's actually not doing anything. Then I put it down. Has a very bad psychological effect. I can assure you. It's as opposed to doing a very arduous, hard work during a long period of time and actually achieving something, making, that's the godly thing to do, correct? You want to be as close to God as you can be, correct? The God is the ultimate in your perspective. God is the ultimate creator, correct? So, motherfucker, in a gym you're not creating anything. in a gym, you're not creating anything. It's very soul crushing, stupid physical labor, which is actually at the end becomes meaningless. Oh yeah, I put up some muscle, but I did a lot of meaningless work in the gym. So the 40 acres and the mule for, for both all the men, and you give some extra, you give double to black men of 18 to 35. 80 acres and heavy equipment, again with no ability to sell or lease, just to compensate them for the harder times they have had and still having to rise through the ranks for whatever reason. Anyway, my point is this, that this period of physical activity, imagine a man who has worked on that piece of land for 25 years, and after 25 years, I guess he can take whatever he has made, but the land should go back to the government to give it back, give it to another man of between 18 and 25. So you get a piece of land, you work on it, and for 25 years you can't sell it or you can't lease it. But during that time, whatever you make, you can save. So after your time is up on the land, you can move on and this time actually buy your own piece of land if you want. Do the same thing that you are doing on donated piece of land, or do something else that you like, or retire. 25 years of good work on a piece of land, you probably can retire. So my point is this, that or we can also move the equipment off the land to their new lot, but the land goes back to the government to clean up and hand it over back to the next 18-year-old to 35-year-old in 25-year time. So my point is this, that this land-based development of people results into that after that 25 years, you can imagine these kind of people, how intelligent, well thought, well observed, hardy people who have worked on the land, whatever they have done, farming, industry, production, healthcare, whatever they have done on that land, they have done it for 25 years. I have a feeling each one of them will make a good senator or good representative. At least those who had the ability to think, connect the dots, will be the senators and representatives that you want. Like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, like Thomas Massie. This is what you want, And it only can come about if labor, physical labor in open space, physical, arduous labor that takes forever to do, which gives people the time to think and connect the dots. I think this is the best gift you can provide to your citizens, to your population. This is the best gift you can provide. Everybody will become a better person because of it. And I understand something like this was tried in communism, but that was collective farms, like kibbutz. Let's go all together and work on the land. No, that doesn't work. You're not bees. You're not. In fact, if you try that, things go bad real bad. Go bad real fast. as we saw with Soviet Union, as we see with Israel. These kibbutz business are the problem, because it brings about group thinking right from the beginning. Groups never think well. Individuals think well as best they can. Groups never think well. So groups never think well, and this idea that, kibbutz and what they try to do in China, in Cambodia, and collective farms also don't work. City living doesn't work. Cramped environment doesn't work for humans. Collective production and collective farming, that doesn't work for humans either. So the ideal way that you can make good humans is to provide them with the land and the freedom to ponder, to find themselves, to find their moral center. The thing with another thing with these people who have done the manual labor, put in the time, and actually thought during those time, is that they all, you find them to have some kind of moral center. City slickers who haven't done real labor in, I'm not talking as a cook behind the counter, that's arduous labor. That doesn't, with all the noise that is coming at you and you're working, that doesn't give you time to think, ponder. You don't ponder. It has to be labor in the open. And not in a collective farm either, but in individual based, family based. Here's 40 acres and a heavy equipment machine, and if you want, here is some 0% loan or grant, but it has to be under you have to run everything by us to make sure you're not burning money there. But you go do your thing, and if any of the women of the tribe want to enjoy that land, they will find you attractive and come and mate with you and reproduce with you. That would be the objective. Give the land to the man, to the men, and have the women decide whether they want to live on the land or be crammed in the cities, prostituting themselves out to the rich. I'm sure most of these women would prefer to be in the land, in the fields with their children and their family, than prostituting themselves out to the rich in the big cities. I think most of them would prefer the field. So, bravo, Mr. Thomas Massie. I think, he's a symbol of what a good Republican could be. Salute.